Bingi, Okavango, Rasdada, Yaga, Chuck Fender, the Living Fire, represent to the fullest. See? Perfect balance. Don't know.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of the Perfect Balance Trod Class, a place where conscious-minded and like-minded individuals are guided towards the fulfillment of their true and full potential. We have with us today Yaga, aka Teacher Ma'at, Okavango, the Rebel Guru, Bingi, and I'm yours truly, Rasdada.
Yeah,
Yeah, man, I great energy, you know. Yeah, I'm kind of lucky to treat them this strong, you know. And I get treat them and walk this strong, you know.
I can borrow them, brother. Bring them out in spring.
It's a borrows. Yeah, man. So it's a great energy for them on the chat class once more. Give thanks to the ones who viewing and following the movement and becoming a part of the family. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. I noticed that we're not getting the people to hit that subscribe button as much as they used to be. So I want to remind the people that we are on a journey to 1,000 where we can start going live. This is something that I think will add even a greater energy to the chat class once we have ones on live where we can share our thoughts in the moment. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. You know, tell your friends about the chat class. Tell them about this important movement that is going on, and this movement of awareness, this movement of rising. You know, and let's move forward with that. Today we wanna have a discussion of a somewhat geopolitical, geoeconomic sense as we talk about BRICS and its effect on Africa and African people, right? Africa has been through a lot of struggles throughout its history, right? And each time when we think that it's about to make a turn towards that sense of economic stability, we find that other plays come into action, and we see a shift from those things. So we're looking at this play now because it's a political play, BRICS, the formation of the BRICS, and how it affects Africa. So we want to talk about initially BRICS. What is BRICS? Bengi.
So BRICS was really initiated as, I would say, an alternative to, the traditional monetary system that we have, right? But more than so, BRICS is a coalition originally between Brazil, Russia, India, China, 4 founding members, and then South Africa was later added, making it the 5th member country.
Mm-hmm.
I think BRICS initiative, right, could really be beneficial because now, if we're looking at these countries, we're talking about the top producing countries in the world and the economic powers, right? We're talking about countries within the top 10 GDPs, for example, right? So we're looking at them as an economic structure that would challenge the dollar, the dominance of the dollar, and make it more equitable for countries to trade, and especially beneficial to Africans, right? But more than that is you now have the ability to use your currency, right? Your currency, your national currency, to trade without having to worry about the dollar, right? You being able to trade. So I think what BRICS is, right, as we said, so BRICS is these 5 countries initially, which has grown to 9, and then you have partner states, right? So BRICS right now, we've seen this big growth, right? Nigeria being the last partner state to join. So we've seen this enormous potential for BRICS actually challenging this neo-colonial system that has been in place for a long time, which will give people equal opportunity. So that's what BRICS is really in a short form.
So in the 50s and 60s, we see a drive in a lot of African countries towards independence, right? And independence, we all have our views on what independence really is and what independence really means, right? But with these African nations, they gained what's called independence. But we've seen over time now that this independence was predominantly political and not economical. So we see where they gain political independence, meaning, okay, you're going to have your own prime minister or presidents or whatever ruling format you guys take. But economically, you're still under the regime of the colonial superpowers that you were under prior to independence. Okavango, are you of the opinion that these systems that existed were designed specifically to the point of keeping these African states dependent?
You think that's that? Yeah, of course. I think the whole system, like I always tell people that nobody's gonna try and give anybody money. Especially people at the top, then they don't want it, they're not gonna show you how to make money or give you money, right? And the whole system was designed to keep who is in power, or who is in control. So it was never set to benefit African countries. Now we have the BRICS, who a lot of people are saying that, it seems like it's an alternative to African country away from the G7, which is and Western dominance. And the BRICS is providing a alternative, and it seems like a better alternative. But let's not get carried away with the BRICS either, because we're talking about the BRICS is dominated by China, and China, just like the Westerners, the America, the Europe, have an ambition to be the dominant force in the world. And so we have to be watchful of them just trying to gather up their own little group to present a challenge to be the dominant force in the world. You know what I mean? So we have to look at those things, because as I said, China is, I think, is 70% of BRICS. The GDP
capital
is China. You know what I mean? So I am looking at BRICS. I'm very optimistic about it, but we have to remember Africa has no friends. You know what I mean? And while BRICS seems, it looks good from the outside, it looks like it has the potential to be a good thing. But what I would really love to see is that something African, which is African based, African countries coming together to form something like the BRICS. But if it's the BRICS, give us that power that it can have African countries in it and move to, in a good direction financially, then I welcome it. But personally, the BRICS is, is very, I'm looking at it. It's not like, yeah, this is it. We should go to it. I prefer this is something that is African based. African with African countries uniting, because Africans really don't need outsiders to progress. And that's one of the biggest thing in Africa right now, where the continent is not united, because Africa don't need to sell to China. They don't need to import from China, because everything is in Africa. You know what I mean? So you have to be mindful, because these power structures, they are all about themselves. Don't be fooled that China and Russia really want to help Africa so much because they love Africa so much. It's really themselves they want. That's how I see it. You know what I mean?
Good point.
Yeah.
Excellent point.
Every country is entitled to protect them sovereignty, look out for their welfare, their own development, and China is no exception to that. In addition to what they do, it's not only to benefit them. The practices, the agreements and the deals are more equitable for the countries that they are doing business and trading with, because at the end of the day, we've seen before that there wasn't a lot being going into infrastructure development. And when China come along, we've seen a change in that, where a lot of infrastructure has been developed in these countries as part of the Belt and Road Initiative that they have. The Belt and Road is an old, centuries-old initiative that they had to connect the world so that they can move goods and services around. Now, we've seen some new partners, some new countries become a part of BRICS recently. Not really partners, they are members, they are full members in the form of Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, and the United Arab Emirates. And Indonesia, and Indonesia, by population, is one of the world's fourth largest population. See? And BRICS came up with the idea of partner countries because a lot of countries started reaching out and want to be a part of this initiative because they realized that BRICS is a development vehicle. And if they are part of this development vehicle, they will be able to trade more fairly on their terms because BRICS sets out to create a multipolar world where they reduce the reliance and the dominance of the dollar and promoting better trade practices. So that is part of the framework and how BRICS have evolved over the time since it was since its inception in 2009.
Yeah, give thanks, Brother Yaga. Brother Okaponga touched on some points where he was saying this alliance, even though it presents an option, we would want to see something of a more African-centered alliance. So I wanted to just point out as well that what we're seeing in the Sahel region with the AES formation, I think has the foundations of a structure that could present that as an option as well. So I just wanted to say that as it related to that. And to Brother Yaga's point, more of ask him as well, like in terms of the exports, because I think one of the major things that they use to cripple us as Africans is the import and export trade. So, like, what are your views on that, Brother Yaga? How do you think that affects African people?
Well, because African economy is based on export. That is what colonialism did. So instead of developing good agricultural practices and producing corn, wheat, and food that we eat in Africa, we are producing things like cocoa, coffee, and other things that they need overseas. So when we do that, this is what is causing the food insecurity in Africa. When that happens, you find that most of the foreign currency reserve is leaving the country. There is nothing, there is no money, there is nothing that is left for the country to develop. This is the impact that it is having on Africa.
Okay. Before we go to Brother Bingi, I just wanted to note as well about the Suez crisis, and how instrumental this point in history was as it relates to African independence. And this happened between the years of 1971 to 73, I think, right? The Suez crisis, for those who aren't aware, was when the Egyptians decided to take control of the Suez Canal from the British and French company that had control of it, because they saw the political power that having control of this canal would mean for the nation. And they decided, listen, we're going to go ahead and do it. And what this resulted in was that they had to now change the political relations between Europe and Africa at that point. And that was very instrumental and key, right? So because we see all of these things, then we know that we have to have a rethink of how we view our things. I'll turn over now to Brother Bingi, who had a question.
No, I think, it is good. And as far as the export, I was just going back to the export that Yaga was talking about. I think if BRICS is truly implemented, the whole idea too is where African countries can really trade amongst themselves, right? Export amongst themselves more freely too, right? So I think it's a good economic idea, especially for African countries to be able to have this bilateral trade, which they really don't have now. Most of them produce but export unilaterally, right? It's all going out of the country, right? So you're producing, but you're not producing food for yourself. You're producing food to export, right?
No, you're producing food for the taste of the other people.
Right, that's
Like,
what I'm saying.
you
So,
want
but
this,
you
so you
export
produce it
it.
and give it to us.
And
Yeah,
the people,
yeah,
the people at the moment don't have that disposable income so that they can trade among themselves as yet. And for that to happen,
Yeah.
we'll have to have a lot of energy, a lot of innovation transfer, where these countries, for example, like China, you know, China is at the heart of AI technology and technology as a whole. Would like to see those patents being shared with Africa so that Africa can
Right.
develop and innovate.
Yes.
So for that to happen
So
and
I
us to
think
trade,
it's
things
good.
like those have to take place.
Yeah. We'll watch, we'll see, but I think it's a good initiative. I think if we look at the start of it and what it's supposed to represent, and the countries actually becoming members or becoming partners, we see this broad coalition that could really change the way the system actually works currently. Yeah, an option.
And it's also a blueprint. It's
Right.
also a blueprint that
Yes.
African nations can look at and
Yes.
say, okay, well, we can
We
come
can do
together as
this.
well and do this.
But first, they have to develop to get to that point. So
Naturally.
this is the gateway to development, right? We could talk
Right.
about, hey, all these African countries could come together, but they would need that help, that push. In reality, they need it, right, in order to advance within a reasonable space of time, right? You don't want to be talking about the same underdevelopment 500 years from now. So because we know these people are in authority, we have to be able to extract from them as well for our development, and then we move on. So we move from state to state.
You know, by my first thing first, you can see I'm very wary of China and Russia. I'm gonna give you an example. Russia and China, they are known not to share too much. Look at the United States. They are proclaimed to be the world power, the dominant force, the West. All countries that are an ally of them, you can see the development in those countries. Like they bomb Japan, but they made Japan an ally, and you can see Japan, develop. The Korea, you can South Korea, you can see the development. Any country they call an ally, Israel, right?
Yeah.
You can see the development in those countries against the countries that are not allied. When you look at the China now and the Russia, the countries that they call ally is underdeveloped. They don't share their the technology. They don't share nothing. Any development, they don't share those things, and that's why I'm very wary of them, because they don't share. Because they just want to be the guy at the top, and everybody is beneath us. You understand? They don't share too much. That's why I'm very real of them leading the BRICS. Let me finish that Yaga. I'm very real of them. But in looking at it, the BRICS look like a good thing for Africa, because we have suffered so much with the Western dominance. Like, we just need something to try something else. You know what I mean? And this look like something worth trying. But we still have to be very wary of these countries that lead the BRICS.
You were saying something?
I think in terms of sharing resources and trading with some of these countries from the Russia that you mentioned. For example, let's use Cuba as an example. Cuba is under sanctions for over 40 years now, so it makes it difficult, really difficult on an international level to trade or do any business with Cuba. But we see now, Cuba is now a part of BRICS. Cuba is now a BRICS partner. So hopefully we will see a difference in that framework, because the multipolar world is taking shape. It is designed to develop these countries that wants to move away from the dominance of the dollar and neo-colonialism.
With the formation of BRICS, right? As we have seen, it's an alternative to the existing World Bank IMF framework, right? If even just on that premise, it's gonna give the nations who have to approach these entities for financial or economic support, it's gonna give them a little more bargaining power, because now they can say, okay, well, if I go to the IMF and the IMF is saying this, listen, I don't know. No, I don't just have to accept it. I can look towards the BRICS and see what offer can I get from the BRICS. So now it cuts out that monopoly that the IMF and the World Bank had on the economic framework of all of these countries.
And the fact that they are able to trade in their local currency means that the offer that they have to pay to buy the foreign currency is gonna be reduced.
Right.
So they're gonna save on their export bill, they're gonna save on their import bill, because they don't have to buy any dollar and they are trading in their local currency.
Right.
But you got the BRICS, their goal is to have a BRICS currency where everyone could trade.
Eventually.
That's the eventual goal, because as we were
all
talking
of
about
the countries,
half
all of
year.
the countries who are members, our partners would subscribe to that currency.
Yeah, man. Just like the dollar right now, is it the dollar, it like represent the dollar where everybody can trade in the dollar, and it, you know what I mean? It's a steady value for everybody.
Right.
Because the thing is, you have different countries with different the money is
Monetary
different value.
value.
Yeah, that different value, and some countries their money is
more stable than others.
stable, and some is very volatile, some is very stable. So you know what I mean, it have a economical risk. You know,
Okay.
trading with them in the local currency. So if you have one currency, the one currency would give, you know what I mean, the same thing.
Yeah.
Around. So
As long as it's not the Russian ruble or the Chinese yen, you understand?
And that's the thing.
But
One of the fear is these, and that's one of the things. The three top countries in the BRICS are pushing for their currency
to be the
central currency.
No,
and we don't want that. We don't want that.
It has to be
one currency. Because India want the rupees to be the country. Chinese want the one to be the country, and Russia want the rubles to be the central currency. We don't want one currency right across the board for everybody.
Because if that happens, it's gonna be the same thing like with the dollar. So that country who their currency becomes the standard is gonna see most of the economic growth, because now everybody has to buy that currency in order to do this. No, we don't want that. It has to be something like the euro.
And the thing about the dollar, I know. The thing about the dollar is because the United States control the dollar. If you are doing something that they don't like, they can just ban you from the dollar. You can't trade in there because it's their money, right?
And the dollar is not by anything.
Yeah, it's not by anything, but I'm saying they can just take it from you.
Yeah.
Because your reserve currency is in US banks. You know what I mean?
This currency is what you have to use to trade, and they say you can't use it, then you're trading.
Because remember, which is
what we are seeing playing out now. That is the reason why countries are pivoting and moving away.
That is why we're saying that with the BRICS now, we don't want nobody to be their currency. With the BRICS, we don't want to know one country I come and say, oh, our currency going to be it. No, it have to be a common currency where everybody have to attain to. Like, for example, the euros, where all of these countries who are part of Europe, no one country out of Europe say, okay, my money is gonna be it. No, you create a money named the euro, and that is what we trade in, right? And that is what we use. Everybody use it. So if you have that, then we find we do not want to see a repeat of what we've seen where they use the dollar to be the standard.
And if and when the BRICS come to that then we can say yes, the BRICS is the thing, but still not right now. They are deciding what
to do as it relates to that.
Yeah,
But the framework is good.
The framework is very good. It's very good, so, and it's a welcome alternative. You know what I mean? For African, and not just African people, you know.
No,
the continent,
globally. Global.
And the
Alright,
country is
yeah.
globally. When we talk about Caribbean people, we talk about the global south. The global south is very welcoming for the global south.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Them say the potential from BRICS is enormous. So if we look at the trade that happens between Africa and China in the last 7 months of 2024, it was 167 billion in volume. That's an
That's a lot.
enormous, and that's just one of the countries within BRICS. They are using the local currency. They retain more value for their money, retain more value in them economy because of those things that are happening. We can see the potential is really huge.
Yeah.
BRICS is 40% of the world's population as it is today, and about
Population,
35%
Definitely.
of the world's
The
GDP.
GDP. Mhm.
Mhm.
So the
And
potential, if it works
that's member states, right? That's member states.
as it is today, as it is as of
No,
2019,
No, I'm wondering
including the
if
new
it include
members.
partners, because I think with partners it should be more than that. Just thinking
It's
about
as-
it.
That is of about November last year, so it would have included some of the partners. The partners,
Yes.
because the partners were just the
They're
partners just
basically just
came along.
observers. The partners are pretty much observers, you know. They're just, okay, we're interested in this, we want to see what it is, we're going to look at it. Because even South Africa, when BRICS started in the first year, they invited them, right? They went as a partner, to observe and see
Right.
what this was about, see what the whole thing was. And then the following year, they joined up and became a member. So the
Remember.
partners pretty much are just observers to say, let me see what's
Yeah,
really
how
going
this
on here.
working.
Yeah, 2 years
yeah.
later they joining.
So-
2 years later they joining.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
with a view of representing Africa's interests and bringing Africans' point of view to the
Across.
the area, to
table.
the BRICS.
Well, result to the
that-
financial system, right?
Mhm.
That's what it leads us to, right?
Right.
Rule of the dollar and neo-colonialism. That's
Yeah,
that.
one time we take a thing, you know?
Yes.
I would
That's
say
what-
once it's helping Africa, once it, you know what I mean, is a positive for Africa, I'm with it. But I'm still observant of it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
You know what Africa has been through. Not, I don't think we should just dive into something because it's something different, you know what I mean, and just run and farm relation with people just because it's different. You know what I mean? We have to deal with
No,
these
but
people.
you're forming relations based on your condition. So
Yeah,
if
man.
something
Relation,
seems more
bilateral
viable,
arrangements.
then yeah, so that's why
Unnecessary.
you do. So yeah, you see the equity in it. So
Right.
let's see how it goes. We are observers.
Yeah.
So so because we are observers, we giving you this multilateral, a view of what could
I like the term that Yaga has been introduced in our program, multipolar.
right.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Multipolar.
But I just said the world I move towards, in a Yaga, multipolar
Yes, sir.
world, you know.
Yeah,
Yes,
man.
yes.
Yeah,
I know just one.
Multipolar.
I know just the United States hegemony, you know, where we just control the whole thing, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
So
I
a
think which will
multipolar world.
stabilize. I think which will stabilize Africa's economy. You know,
You
and,
know?
and with the vast, enormous natural resources that we have and potential in agriculture, we could start see a shift in the raw materials that we are exporting. And we could turn into that powerhouse that these countries used to be, because that's basically what happened. So these alliances with the BRICS
Okay.
nations will definitely
Right.
be
We'll definitely
beneficial.
do it. Yeah. I think that one thing what we need to see as well, right, is that I think it's evolved and changed over time. But one thing that caught a lot of African countries, African nations, and African nations within the diaspora as well, is that when we're formulating these decisions and making these agreements, right, these people that's bringing these agreements to us, they have frameworks and teams of lawyers, legal teams that are structuring these agreements, right? But on our side, we just have somebody who doesn't have that awareness of the legal structure or framework a lot of the times. Then we just go in and accept.
Take a pen,
Yes.
Yeah, that is our opinion. That can be
opinion
true.
that
That
man,
has to be an opinion. Is that factual? That we
What I'm
don't
saying
have.
is, like looking at Jamaica as an example, right? Looking at Jamaica as an example. When we enter into certain agreements as a nation, right? Them come and them bring the dollar diplomacy and plot amendment to the Caribbean region as an example, right? We accept these things, but we don't have a full awareness of what these agreements and things legally mean to us. Because if we did, we wouldn't accept them.
No,
No.
those people are representing you, accepting them based on knowing what it is, brother.
Yeah.
His representation, that lawyer or whoever is representing that country is fully aware of what they're doing. What you're saying is they have a less understanding. They don't. They don't. There's no man. What there is, there's power. So because there's power in place, people make these decisions based on what the consequences are going to be if they don't. So that's why they go into these agreements.
And
it's not that they
mindset-
don't understand. They fully understand.
I don't think they fully understand.
They fully understand.
Mindset
So-
need to
so-
change,
so that-
and the leaders
so-
need
so
to
I
know
say-
this
They have
colonialism.
no alternative.
So that
Because they have no alternative, they do it. They
They
do
have to
it. They
move away
strong
from
arm.
the mindset and the colonial
Yes.
mentality
Yeah.
and embrace
Okay,
the new
go have a
activities.
question. Okay, go.
No, because basically the way I say Africans dunce.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
No, but other people I say because
No,
say,
that's not-
them
that's
care
not
them
what I'm
liar
saying.
and them care them bright people them and then we just there's a like some little fool like
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, but basically that it a say.
No, I'm not saying that.
Like you say what I
You
said.
not say, but that it imply.
No, it's
Like you
not
say what I
implying
said.
that.
So I said that.
Okay, so yeah, I say.
What I'm saying is that the people that we have been trading with have ulterior motives, and they structure these things to hold us in a stranglehold, whether economically, politically, whatever
Dada.
aspect of the.
I don't mean to cut you off or whatever, but you were saying that when the people come to your country, they come with their lawyers and they come with this, and all you're saying
And
is
they
like
don't
a little
understand.
man, like a little.
No, that's not
representative.
what I'm saying.
What
I'm
do you say?
saying the policies that they're bringing to us to agree to.
Okay.
They have these legal frameworks are structured to ensure their agenda. When they bring it to us, the legal twisting and
Entity.
turning of it, right? The legal twisting and turning of it make it unclear to us African people, African diaspora,
No.
as to what
that's
their
the
not
problem
true.
here. That's the
is.
That
problem.
is not
Because you are
true.
saying that they come with something and they trick them because they don't understand what
They
is
don't
going on.
understand.
So
That
you're
is
saying
not
that they're
true.
like they are done and they don't
That's
understand
not
what
true.
going on.
No, you don't have to be done to
But
not
that
see.
if a man them come with something and say, boy, this you're gonna do, and when them show it to you, you don't understand what it is, and you say yes and write it because you're ignorant to them show you.
You can't say them ignorant to it. You can say they're
No.
ignorant to it, but being ignorant is something that means you're done.
But that means all right. Let me say them uninformed. So we send uninformed people to these tables.
So I'm gonna revisit a story you shared with us some time ago in the church class with the seal of Manhattan, right? With this, as it relates to the seal of Manhattan, right? Where these colonial powers come to this place and approach the native indigenous people to say, okay, we want to buy this area. The native indigenous people, their understanding of it was that you can't really buy land or anything like that. Because culturally, that's how they view things.
Right.
They do it, right? And they sold Manhattan for whatever they sold it for, and not knowing that that would have meant that they would have been locked out of this place pretty much after that, right? The reason why that is because the people who structure these deals have an agenda, and the people that they're trying to put these deals to are not aware of what their agenda is in terms of in its entirety. So this is the point I'm making, that because a lot of the times what them do is what them call them, they would have said them sweeten the pot. So okay, we want you to join this agreement in this region. In order, when you join this agreement, we're gonna give you this. And because them see that, okay, we're gonna give you this, we jump at it, but we don't look at what the
That is,
actual consequences of this are.
the Manhattan thing, and
No.
and we're talking about with
Different.
government that is totally different thing. You are
Why is it
talking
different?
you are talking our lawyer and their lawyer, because you're talking two lawyers. The Manhattan people didn't have a lawyer. You know what I mean? They didn't understand what was going on, and they were ignorant to what was going on, right?
Right.
So we're
Right.
talking two presidents who are lying now, who
Different
actually
thing.
should know what's going on. You
Yeah.
understand? You know what I mean? But you are saying that one is like oblivious to what is going on. The thing is, what our leaders have done, they have taken deals that will benefit them, the leaders, and not benefit the people. Our African leaders, our Caribbean leaders have taken deals who benefit them and their friends, and not benefit the country.
Once you say Africa, we are
It's
including
not like they
Caribbean
didn't
too.
understand what's going on. They understand what's going on, and they understand that they would make some money and their president make some money. They understand those things. So they deliberately take bad deals and bad things for their country all the time,
For their own personal
for their own
well-being.
personal benefit. And that's the leader we're trying to get away. Because, but guess what? All of these people were put into power by the colonials. You know what I mean?
So
And they
I
were
agree.
educated by
That's easy.
the
That's
I
colonials.
agree
You know what I
that
mean?
you have the power.
Right.
So that is what.
But you're aware. You're always aware
You're
of what
aware.
you're doing. That's the point.
Yeah,
It's
this-
not like a man
that they are
saying,
selling out the
hey, he
people.
outshadowing you or fooling you. You are fully aware of what is being presented and the situation.
Well,
But
I
you're
think-
a lawyer, I'm a lawyer.
Dada,
It's
see,
a
see
level
these
playing
people all the while we have in power. We have
Mhm.
a habit of calling them, oh, they're so fool, they're so stupid. But guess what? They're not really fool and stupid enough. They have
No.
sense and they know what they're doing. What they're doing
They're
is
selfish.
selfish for
selfish.
themselves.
They're selfish.
Yeah.
Selfish.
They're
That's what
That's
they are.
different.
Selfish.
So,
And they're
so
not
that is
patriots. They're not
really the
patriots.
point. That is really the point I want to really expound on. I think it has gotten better to some extent, because now we see where nations are kind of sort of looking more for the benefit of the entire nation as opposed to just their own selves. You know, Master? So we've seen that improvement. So I'm saying that with the BRICS now, we want to make sure so we have a clear view, as you say, Okavango, that it's not no, or we're just gonna jump into this blindly again and end up in another situation like what we're trying to get out of. So that is really the sentiment I'm trying to express from this statement. It gives thanks that we could have reasoned through it and come to that fullness.
Yeah.
Brother Okavango, we talk about a lot of the problems, right? We talk about a lot of the problems, but like, what about some of the solutions?
All right. I really mention a solution here because I take things from an African standpoint. And really and truly, even though the BRICS for me is a good alternative, and I think African countries should actually join and try it. But I think the real solution is, you see, we're talking about trade, right? I think most of the trade that is going on with Africa should be within Africa. Like, without, the other mention the amount of money we was shared between China and Africa. I want to see that amount in Africa. I want to see Nigeria trading that amount with South Africa. I want to see Nigeria, Ghana trading that amount with Ethiopia. That's what all those things should be traded in Africa. You understand?
That's the vision.
Trade between African countries. I want Ethiopia should be making cars and the metal is coming from Congo. You know what I mean?
Right.
I want you know what I mean? Just within. I want when Zimbabwe plant the food, they're sending Morocco or whoever. That's what I want to see. We planting and sending it to other places while countries in Africa want food. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I want to trade.
Naturally.
So hopefully BRICS is the answer to this, right?
That is,
So
which
what
is what we're
you're
saying.
speaking about, not in the sense that it could happen right now in Africa, but it will provide them infrastructural help to make that possible, that transition where African countries could trade amongst themselves, develop amongst
But
themselves.
India then all
Naturally. And the reason being is economically, we know that they cannot do it because they have not been the benefactors of their own wealth. So we
Naturally.
know that because
Naturally.
they have not been benefactors of their own wealth, now they are literally have to have this coalition to have that development going
Naturally.
forward. They must, it's
Naturally.
must. And then you move on to your independence. This
Naturally.
only way it's gonna
So
happen, you know.
so being so when you are saying that all African countries should join the BRICS.
No,
No,
I
not
am,
necessarily John
no, I am
Briggs.
not saying that all African countries should go and do that. I am saying the African countries that see it beneficial for their development into a true independent state should use it. That's what I'm saying. Use the model. And use the model because we know how
Right.
neo-colonialism works.
Right.
They extract and only extract. There's no
Right.
giving back. So
And I think
BRICS is now saying, let's have this cooperative where we all benefit.
Yeah.
So if it works, it works.
Right.
And then you move on.
But that framework is a good framework for African development because
Yes.
the African nation now can say, okay, well, we can look and see which countries in Africa are dominant in which resource, and then which countries in Africa need which resources, and then we can peer those countries, you know, to trade in those resources, and it's great. Understand? It's great, but I think one of the major things that BRICS is gonna bring about is it's gonna loosen that grip that the dollar has had on the global economy, because the dollar, like it like everything in the world was being traded pretty much in the dollar.
The dollar leads the financial system in the world, right?
Right.
It
So I think
leads-
that is one of the biggest real things about it. You know, I think what Yaga wants to wrap up the reasoning. So we're gonna turn over to Yaga so he can seal up the reasoning.
No, I mean, Africa potential is limitless under BRICS. And it's an opportunity, you know. It's a movement for a true independence. We need African leaders to realize that they have to change their mindset, they have to change their mentality, and realize this is a chance for Africa to break free for dependency and build a self-reliant future.
Yes, I.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, man. So great energy, you know.
Yeah.
Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Do remember the Perfect Balance Trod Class is here to see our mutual development and give thanks.
Give thanks for life.
And,
Yes, sir.
I say the perfect balance trod class. I don't know say a tough for this represents. Good over evil, me tell them see a life over death.